Hey guys, EritoKaio here. Welcome to Interlagos. This is the second take of recording because I forgot to unmute my mic. Anyways, the track is looking pretty warm. No weather concerns, and we are starting from P2. Some of these cars somehow lapped behind GT3s, but it is what it is. Let's get started. Alright, here we are, into the race now. Again, this is the second take because I forgot to unmute my mic like a genius. I even have my audio on my other monitor and I can see the thing moving and I just didn't look at it. Anyways, warming up the tires a bit. You can see I have changed my overlays a bit. I changed back to Race Lab because it works better for VR. And you will see soon why I wanted to change back to VR. I actually had a race recorded, but I spun like 4 times, so I didn't find it was worth keeping. So we have this race instead. And it's green light. I didn't have the best start. This pink car is gonna make its way through. We're gonna go 3 wide into turn 1, which is always great. Play it a bit safe. Try and keep it tight on the inside there. LMP3 had some misfortune. This guy almost bit maneuvers me trying to avoid him. I went a bit hot in here. Tires are not up to temperature yet. You may also notice as this LMP3 passes back, I have 2 maps on screen. That's because one of them is on my actual monitor, while the other one is the overlay for OBS. And this is a fuel saving race. The race is like 1 lap longer than what the tank of this car can hold, or maybe about 2 laps if you're pushing. And these LMP3s, I think, feel pretty good. I am excited to see what the other 2 new LMP3s will feel like in the next 2 patches. I'm also excited for the new tracks. I did have a race recorded for Silverstone, like I said, in VR, but it didn't go too well. I was driving the unrestricted LMP2, which is really fun to drive. I think that's how the car should be to start with. I tried to look on the outside here and I got blocked, which is always great. I tried to spook him, but I don't think they really care. And you'll see why. Maybe, I think, next lap. So I was managing to stay with them while fuel saving. P1 also started fuel saving because they quickly realized that this is a fuel saving race as well. However, this car ahead did not fuel save, at least I don't think. And yeah, these cars are pretty fun. They can be very tricky. They will snap on you just without any warning, and you'll be facing backwards very fast. There are some people that notice that you can do some weird rake on the car to help with that. I haven't tried. This is pretty much the default setup. I think I decreased the wing 1 click think it's a 12.5 by default, and I switched it to 12. See if he could help me a bit with overtaking. There's also still some audio cuts. I still don't know why it happened. I just updated OBS, so maybe that'll fix it. Here I have a look on the inside, and they didn't really give me much space, or didn't realize I was there. I don't think it was done maliciously, but I was throwing hands, as you saw. It is what it is. My car is a bit damaged, but I don't think it was bad enough to make a difference. So I spent the rest of this lap just trying to see if the car was in any bad condition. Try to take it a bit easier. Thankfully I didn't lose much time because the wall kept me from spinning. Here the guy in P3 had a bit of a spin. Apparently if you go a bit wide in turn 1, you can very easily spin the car. And you'll see that happen 3 or 4 times in this race. We're gonna skip ahead a bit to when we catch back to P1 and P2. P1 goes a bit wide, loses a bunch of time. Then the pink car gets the first place. That's where they're gonna hold for a while. I'm lifting before the last red board on the right. Here I think I lift between these two blue boards on the right. Or in this case I think I lifted on the first board because the guy ahead, I didn't want to go into the back of them in case they were saving as well. And yes, it is quite difficult to see with the pillar of the car. However, I'm realizing that I think most of the problem isn't necessarily that the pillar is super wide, because if you go on the LMP2 and even the hypercars, they also have pretty thick pillars, and you don't have as much of a problem, at least I don't. But in this car it feels different, and I don't think it's necessarily because the pillar is bigger. It's because I'm not used to having it on the right side. So you have to kinda, if you know the track, you'll probably be fine. But if you're doing like on a newer track or something, you might struggle. But you might also struggle with the other car, so I don't think it's necessarily the pillar. And I have tried this car in VR. You can just look around the pillar anyways in VR. It's like, it almost feels like you're cheating. But yeah, I don't think it's that bad. And you get used to it. You'll see that I think this car ahead struggles a bit with that. You'll see that they go a bit wider than they need to be in these corners. Like there, I go much tighter into the apex. And I think that's just because I know where the apex is. Here as well. So this one is a bit easy. You can just almost peek the corner out of the window. Anyways, I think I'm gonna go for my first attempt at passing. But the problem is that I know I have to fuel save, so I can't battle much. So I'll go have a look here. But I have to lift Also, I'm not going to be able to save fuel. You can see my fuel calculator on the left, the bottom of my left screen. You can see that last lap. If I do every lap like that lap, I'll have about, I think that says 1.5. I'm not sure because I'm commentating over a lower resolution preview of the video so that I can render it super fast so I can do the commentary, and then the next day I'll do the full render and release the video. Here again they go super wide. And I don't remember if I go again for the move on this lap or the next one. I seem to have a better exit out of this corner. No, I think I'm too far back here. Anyways, yeah, I'm looking to do more VR content again, now that the weather's finally starting to cool off a bit. Today is actually still kind of warm. I might have to turn on the fan again. But as soon as it gets cold, I want to start doing some VR races and driver's eye views type of deal. Not sure what the yellow flag is. Also, you may have noticed my wheel looks a little different. The rubber, the black rubber was starting to come off and stick to my hands. So I had to wash my hands every time I used the wheel. So I bought some grip tape that you put on rackets and baseball bats and bicycles. And I put it around the wheel. And so far it seems to work pretty well. It's still grippy enough. In fact, it's made to be grippy. Here we are going for a second attempt. This time I'm gonna try and lift a bit later. Unfortunately, I locked up and had a touch at the back. That's fine. Got the position. And now I know the guy ahead is not really fuel saving a lot. So I just tried to stay behind him, do as much fuel saving as I could. However, there's this P2 that comes in and I brake way too late. And this is what happened before. Went too wide and the car just loses the rear. And once again, I'm in the position of having to come back from the back and recover once again. And I can't push more because, again, I'm fuel saving. So I both like and dislike fuel saving races, because one, you can't really push like the car is supposed to be designed for, but it also adds that bit of strategy. And some people might be caught up because they don't realize they have to fuel save. You make up some free positions from that. And because this is also 2 times fuel consumption for this series, fuel saving is basically twice as effective. gonna skip ahead again. We've caught up to the Red Bull painted LMP3 again. And those GT3s probably get spooked out quite a bit. Also, there he is again. He went a bit wide. Almost lost the rear. He managed to save it. Like I was saying, these GT3s probably get a bit spooked because they see that they suddenly catch up in the braking zones, but that's just because we're fuel saving. Well, they probably aren't, because I think they do have to pit no matter what. And the same for the LMP2, just that these cars are in that sweet spot where you can just fuel save and make it to the end. And you may also notice that I'm now in P2, and I was in P4 before the cut. And that's because, well, the cars had pitted for fuel. Well, we're still going, still have 5.7 laps of fuel. And here I have a bit of a snap. Thankfully I caught it. Just ate a bit of grass. Fastest lawnmower in Brazil. And once again, we have to recover. And we skipped again. And suddenly, looks like P1 had a bit of an issue. With the, I think it was one of the GT3s. And once again, we are back. We are so back into the P1 battle. This race was just a roller coaster of emotions. I'm either super far behind again because I spun or something, or I'm caught back up because the guys ahead spun or hit it. It was a bit chaotic mentally. So now I have just over 2 laps of fuel. You're on lap 24 of 26. So now it's just about who saved the most. And if you saved more than the opponent, that means you can push, while they can't. I'm still gonna lift here. I lifted at around 200-ish. Went a bit wide here, I cut too much of the curb. I was noticing they were still lifting quite early there. I have now 2 laps of fuel. That means for the last lap I'll have some extra, and you can see there on the left I have 1.31 liters extra as of last lap. So I might be able to just push a bit more on the last lap to get past if needed. Ideally I would pass on this lap. Gotta get a good exit through here, and we do. I don't think it's enough. .3 laps of fuel, so I have 0.3 laps extra. That means I can push. Gotta get a good line through here. Thankfully we do. That means we have a good run. They go defensive. I go to the outside. They lifted early, which allows me to stay side by side. We go around the outside. Still on the side, and we get the move done. I go a bit tight through there, just in case they turn in too much. And that's the move done. Now we can just run away. They make another mistake. They went a bit wide. Now it's just run to the end. I have 1.5 liters of fuel. 0.3, 1.2. Now under a liter. And we make it to the end in P1 against all odds. And we get the win. And let's look at the results. We gained a bit of safety rank. We are back to Platinum 2. Gained a bit of driver rank as well. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed this race. I hope to have more. And I will catch you in the next one. Goodbye.